from Public Arts Art, is Ann on the call?
Um, I don't see her yet.
Okay.
She should be. She messaged me earlier saying she would be.
Hmm.
Okay.
Do we want to start without her or wait a couple more minutes?
We should go ahead and get started. Thanks,
Okay,
though.
that's what I figured. No, you're good. Um, all right. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining tonight. This is the pre-construction community meeting for the SH 121 art project. The city project number is C01639, and we're in Council District 11. At this time, if anyone from Council District 11 would like to say hey, talk a little bit, you're more than welcome to.
This is Rachel Ariano. I'm Chief of Staff for Councilwoman Martinez. Just want to thank everybody for taking the time to be on the call and those for filling in for Fanta. It's an important project and we're excited to have everybody joining the call. I have Natalie Lopez, District Director, on the call, as well as Maya Perez, our summer intern from UT as well. So again, just thank you all for being here this evening. Look forward to hearing more about this project and community input. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel. All right. And so for some more introductions today, like I said, I'm Abby Tucker. I'm with City of Fort Worth. My program manager for this project is Chad Allen. And then the landscape architects and engineers for this project are DSGN Associates and Baird, Hampton and Brown, respectively. And then the contractor for this project will be Sea Greenscaping. All right, so we can go over the agenda for tonight. First, we'll go over a project overview and history of the project. Then we'll go into the scope of the project and then typical construction process and project traffic control. And then we'll end it with the project schedule and notification. Just as a little bit of a project overview, project history, in 2004, the Governor's Community Achievement Award was given to the city's Environmental Management Department for its Keep Fort Worth Beautiful efforts. In 2016, TxDOT informed the city that a new site could be selected on a state highway, but not on the federal highway system. This site was approved in January 2018, the one we're discussing today. On January 14th of 2019, the FWAC approved the artist team's revised preliminary design for this project. And that's what we'll be discussing. So just as a zoomed out version of the project location, as you can see in yellow, we're going to be on 121 east of I-35. And then zooming in a little bit, the project online says the limits are Maxine Street to Beach Street on 121. And then the construction is really going to be focused in that yellow portion right there, pretty much in between Wayne Street and Clarence Street. So as far as proposed improvements go, this will be several signs that spell out Fort Worth, and it'll be visible going west on 121 towards downtown. As you can see kind of from this plan sheet, the letters will, closest to downtown will be closer to 121, and then they'll gradually move farther away towards the frontage road as you get farther from downtown. And so that's a couple plan sheets for you from that. And then here are some sign dimensions for all the signs that'll be going up. As you can see, they're 10 feet in height, and the widths vary from between 5 feet-ish and 10 feet-ish. Yeah, so there's some details for those. And then this is just an early rendering of some of the signage dimensions of the foundation. As you can see, that's the R with the gray at the bottom is the foundation, which goes under the ground to keep the sign stable. And then this is a really fancy graphic we have that shows you what it's going to look like driving west on 121, looking towards downtown. Like I said, the H at the end of Fort Worth will be closer to the frontage road, vice versa for the F as you go closer to downtown, so you can really see it from quite a ways away. So for project details, as I said, the project limits are going to be 121 west of Maxine to Beach. And the project scope is mainly the Fort Worth sign, plus the installation of native flowers and grasses. As far as the typical construction process goes, it'll start out with notifications about 7 days before construction. The traffic control implementation will come next. So you're going to see barrels, signage for the construction process. And then after that will come erosion control plan implementation. And then we'll go through right-of-way site clearing. So prepping the earth, prepping the site for construction. Next, there will be foundation work for the sign installation, followed by the sign installation itself and the landscaping. And then finally, the traffic control and erosion control will be removed and final cleanup will occur. In regards to the traffic control, just some brief explanations. No 121 main closures will happen, or main lane closures will happen during this process. Barrels along the shoulder of the main lanes will be placed between those entrance and exit ramps right at the location of the project. And then the frontage road inside lane will be closed as needed, and the site will be accessed from the frontage road. So that's where you're going to be seeing construction equipment entering the site. None of that will be occurring on the main lanes of 121. And then for the scheduling and notification process, the project is scheduled to start in either August or September of 2025. The duration will be 210 calendar days, which corresponds with about 7 to 8 months. So the project completion will be March or April of 2026. For working hours, we have scheduled 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. for weekdays, and then 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekends if requested and approved. And then as far as project notification goes, as I said earlier, the notices to residences and businesses will go out 7 days before construction starts. And at that same time, variable message boards and project signs will also be placed. And just keep in mind that the project schedule could be affected by unforeseen events such as weather. So that's most of the presentation today, pretty quick and easy. But we just wanted to give a plug to our reporting system for City of Fort Worth. There is the My Fort Worth app that you can download from the App Store or Google Play. And you can use this app to report outages on streetlights, on signals. You can report potholes. You can also see that there's an online reporting and chat at the Fort Worth Gov customer care website. And then you can also always call the city call center. And then for any additional questions on this project, here's some contact information from all of us. As Chad said earlier, I'm just filling in for Fanta, so my information is not up there. But we've got the program manager, the project manager, and then the contractor and the inspector for the project. I think that's it. So I'll leave it on this one for a little bit. Yeah, I don't know, Chad, if we have any questions in the chat or not.
So I'm monitoring the chat and I don't see any questions, but you know, we still have plenty of time. So
Sure.
if anyone on the call has any questions about the project, we have the project manager here, we have the contractor and the engineer, we have folks from our construction office, and we have folks from the city council members office. So we have a lot of experts here and we can try to answer your questions about the project if anyone has any. We're in no hurry to leave. Will the letters be lighted is the first question. So that is a yes, right?
Yes.
So do we have any, Matt, can you tell us more about the lighting, or should we, yeah, how will they be lit is the next question.
The lights will be ground mounted fixtures that will point up to the letters. There will be LED fixtures, so and aim to avoid pointing them at any neighboring windows or anything like that, and done accordingly. to address that. So I don't think, but they're mainly just to upwash the letters that are visible at night.
Okay. There is another that do we have any more questions about the lighting from Daniel or anyone else?
Hey, Chad. This is
Hey,
Ed Valise here.
hi Ed.
Yeah, so I'll be the senior lighting inspector on this project here.
Okay.
So I take it we're gonna, as we get closer to that date, we'll actually have a pre-con somewhere in the office there, from what I understand, or
Yes, sir.
okay.
We as soon we will be scheduling the pre-con through the e-builder process very soon, and we appreciate the construction office being in this call. But immediately after this meeting, we're going to be coordinating the actual pre-con over there in the construction office.
Okay.
Hey, and Chad, this is Mike Myers,
Hey,
construction
Mike.
manager. I just wanted to add, in addition to the 7-day notice, there will be a 1-day notice. And there should be
Okay.
message boards also placed up with information.
Perfect. Thank you.
And Chad, this is
So,
Ann Allen with Fort Worth
hey,
Public
Ann.
Art. I have joined
Yeah,
by phone. WebEx would not let me in. I tried every which way. So
we
I'm
we
here
were not
listening in.
purposefully keeping you out. Okay. Thank you for joining. We're glad you're here.
I'm
So
glad to be here.
we talked about the lighting. There's some other questions in the chat. Abby, I'm going to read to you now. The next one is, will the neighborhood streets be blocked, or do we need to go through the north end to get to the homes? So as far as I know, and I think we have the engineer on the call, they can help us out with this, or the contractor. As far as I know, no, there's no detours and no neighborhood streets are going to be blocked. Like Abby mentioned earlier, possibly one of the lanes on the frontage road will be closed, but traffic will still be able to get through there. But does anyone on the call have any other information about this question? Will the neighborhood streets be blocked, or do we need to go through the north end to get to the homes?
Nope, you answered it perfectly, Chad.
Okay,
No neighborhood streets. And the most we're gonna have is one lane closed on the access road.
okay,
Yep.
perfect. It says the next question is, will there be space for people to get out for photos? Wow.
That is a no. This art
That's an
piece,
interesting question. I
this
like it.
art piece is meant to be experienced from your vehicle. It would not be considered safe to get out of your car and do so. So the answer, no, that would not be advised.
I agree with that answer. Keeping people from doing that, like I don't think we have any barricades up, but I can imagine people would want to do that.
I will just say, as a project design team, the project was not designed to experience in that fashion.
Mhm.
That is correct. So the next question is, will the landscaping be continuous through all the letters or just islands of native plants? I think that one's for you, Matt.
So along the letters, there will be for the entire length of the letters, there will be native grasses and native wildflowers going through the entire length around the area of the letters, and then normal sort of grass
Hey
landscaping
Matt,
on the outside of that.
hey Matt, uh, you are being minutes. Your connection is breaking up. You might want to type in the
Laura,
chat if
Laura, I think that might be your connection. I heard
Yeah,
Matt very clearly, but
me
you
too.
are coming in and out. But thank you. Did he Rachel, could you hear Matt?
Yes, I could hear him clear. Laura was the one that was cutting out.
Mhm.
He was
Okay.
clear.
Okay. Thank you very much. There's several more questions. I'm really happy that are in the chat. The next one is, what will prevent a motorist from hitting the letters?
So the letters are outside of the area that deemed by TxDOT to. There is and Trace, you may want to correct me on the actual distances, but there's a measurement from the actual travel lane, and all letters and their foundations are outside of that area that TxDOT deems would be necessary to have any sort of barricading or anything by their standards. And that's on the main travel lanes. On the frontage road, we have a curb, and so the curb allows that. The curb is the main thing that prevents someone from going in there in that situation, and but we were still outside of the distances set by TxDOT standards for that area as well.
Right. It's no different than all of the other hundreds and hundreds of roadside signs that line the highway. This meets the same criteria.
Okay. The next question is, what will the letters be made of? Aluminum, steel, etc. What will be the finish on the letters?
They will be unfinished Corten steel. So if you've ever seen, like, it's like have more of a rusted look to it, so that would be, it's an unfinished metal, so the maintenance will be very minimal on those letters because it's intended to have the appearance. I'm sure many people are very aware of that look. I mean, you see it in many different areas and used throughout our landscape. So if you see a piece of like a large rusted metal, it's intended to do that. That's how the Corten steel is designed.
Okay. Beth has a question in the chat. She says, I can see a lot of visitors wanting to stop for pics. Yes, we had a question about that earlier. That might have been from you, Beth, too. Yes, ma'am, it was. I think Matt stated it correctly, is that this project and this artwork was definitely not intended to be, enjoyed like that. And do you have any thoughts about that, or should I go to the next
Well,
question?
I know people have a tradition here in Texas of pulling over on the freeway and putting their kids out in the bluebonnets in the spring to take pictures. That is a no-no, but people still do it.
Yeah.
I think Matt has explained it beautifully. The artist team has always conceived of this project as something meant to be experienced from your vehicle. And in fact, those letters line up perfectly at certain points as you come into downtown, kind of like the old Burma Shave signs, and they spell out Fort Worth in kind of one glance. So that's the way the project is meant to be experienced. Will people park on the frontage road? Perhaps, but that's not the intention of the artwork.
Okay. So the next question is very similar. It says, how will you detour people from getting out to take photos? I don't think we're proposing any barriers or anything like that. That might be more of a hazard than a help. But I think we've sort of answered this question before. If anyone else has any information to add, that would be great. But the question is, how will you detour people from getting out to take photos? I'm not sure if we can add any more than what we've already described.
No, I think
Matt,
it would be
okay.
highly discouraged from doing that. The experience of the art piece was, as we said before, meant to be experienced by driven. It would be a much different experience and not an artist intention.
Okay. Next question. I was late to the meeting. How long will the project take, and are there any pictures renderings? So we'd be happy. We have plenty of time. Abby, if you'd scroll back to maybe that nice that one.
Oh,
And
the
then we can
rendering or
all,
the schedule? Sorry.
both. So yeah, go right ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I'm being too controlling, man. I
You're
apologize.
fine. You're good. You're good. So 210 calendar days is the duration of this project, which corresponds with between 7 and 8 months. So if we start in August, it'll be about March when it's completed. If September, then April. And I'd be happy to go back and show y'all the rendering again. Like I said earlier, this is going west on 121, so towards downtown. That's when the project will be visible in its most experiential form. It sounds like from the frontage road, I don't think it'll be as much of a, I don't know if it'll be as visible just because of the angles and stuff.
Yes, correct. As it
Mhm.
is, the letters are angled to be experienced from 121,
Mhm.
and as you can see, it's that's the letters are spaced out, so when you're driving in a car, you can see the Fort Worth being spelled out. That's why I stated that that's how it was. The intention of design was
Mhm.
intended to be experienced.
Sure. Thank you, Matt.
I have a question
Okay,
for
perfect.
Chad or Abby. This is Ann Allen again. Is there a way
And
after this meeting tonight for the city to put a page on its website with a rendering and some information about the project scope and timeline as a follow-up to this meeting tonight?
absolutely, we can do
Yeah.
that. I think we already have a project page. We can definitely add this rendering to it. We also are recording this meeting, and I just looked at our City of Fort Worth YouTube channel. That's where all of our videos get uploaded to. We used to upload them to the project page also. I'm not sure if we still do that, but we could definitely do that. But there is the
Yeah.
City of Fort Worth YouTube page where we're going to put this video, and we can definitely get this rendering up on the website too.
Mhm.
Great.
Okay.
Hey, Chad,
So
I just
yeah,
wanted to add to Matt's comment or in the questions about taking pictures in front of the sign.
yeah, because the
This
next question
thing,
is about
the
that too. So
letters,
go ahead.
the letters are so spread out that it's virtually impossible to take a picture in front of the sign because it's so spread out. Someone would literally have to be the other side of the freeway to be able to even get the whole thing, I believe, into a picture.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. You get a good shot of somebody standing like next to an individual letter, but it might be hard to get, the whole sign, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, the next question is how would we prevent a motorist from deciding to try to get out for a photo? Daniel, I think we've covered that one quite a bit. We appreciate the question. Beth
Yeah, I think
asked,
it's
did you
just
tell
not
us?
much of a photo.
Yeah, and it's very unsafe. I think that's our official opinion. Did Beth asked, did you tell us how tall the letters are going to be? Yes, ma'am. Abby, can you scroll back?
Yes.
So I know these dimensions, Beth, are hard to see, but the letters are 10 foot tall.
Mhm.
They're made of the metal that Matt described. They're 10 foot tall and they're about 5 foot wide for the thinner ones, the not as wide ones.
Yeah, so the letters themselves are about 10 foot tall, and then from the base, from the ground, so it's about 12 feet in total. Once
Okay.
you factor in the part that's connected to the concrete base,
Mhm.
it's probably about another additional 2 feet, so it's around 12 feet total. So yeah, again, very large and meant to be experienced from a car. You would have a very difficult time taking a photo next to one of them with them being so tall.
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. Will this project affect the property tax? Is Anna's question. I do not see how that would be true. Is there someone smarter than me on the call that has a different answer for that? But I think the answer is no to that question. What is the cost of the project? Gosh, I should know that number, but I don't. Carson, what can we give like an approximate value for the construction cost? Like I like an overall big number. How much is
I
it?
can. This is
I
Ann.
think we were
Okay,
around 550,000 for the
okay,
construction cost.
okay.
Yeah, the
So that's
construction cost for the base bid was $571,578.
okay. Um, the next question is, in the rendering, there is a fence or clear panels shown. What is that? Can we go back to the rendering?
Yes.
What is that? I don't, Matt, do you know what that is? Is that just like an artifact in the
Oh,
image?
you may be referring to the transparent trees in the background. Those are just to represent like existing trees that are on the other side of the frontage road. And then some of those
Okay.
those white blocks are just existing buildings. And this, I apologize, rendering was done many, many years ago.
Yeah.
And so has not
Yeah,
been
those aren't meant
updated.
to be anything,
It's
Daniel,
just it's
sorry.
meant
Yeah,
to
Matt.
landscaping. Trees that are
Yeah,
existing there, they're not being planted. It's just background.
Mhm.
Okay.
Matt's correct. That's just a kind of a generic shape, placeholder shape to represent buildings and vegetation. Just very, very abstract, very general.
Sorry about that, Daniel. Man, you have a good eye though. I didn't even see those things, but yeah, those aren't meant to really represent anything regarding the art. Hopefully, after the project's done, we'll have a beautiful flyover drone video of the artwork, but this is what we have right now. Um, let's see. Laura chimed in. She said yes, the rendering and the meeting recording will be and can be placed on the project page, so we'll get that done. And Beth says she loves it. I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be very popular with our visitors. Thank you. We're excited about it too.
Mhm.
Thank you for bringing some vertical art, says Jan, to Riverside. Our other projects are horizontal with minimal visibility. I guarantee that makes the design team and Ann very happy. So we really appreciate that positive feedback. So those are all the questions in the chat. We had a lot of great questions. Thank you everybody for participating. This is awesome. And you know, we're still here. Does anyone have, if you don't want to type in your questions, you can ask them now.
Chad, this is Rachel. I just
Hey.
wanted to ensure that we get notice in the office when construction begins, just that when the residents are notified 7 days prior to construction, that we get that information so we can share it as well, just on our social media channels, just so that residents are informed if they're following us too.
Okay. That'll be great. No problem. Who will be responsible for plantings upkeep? TxDOT or Public Arts?
It will be Fort Worth Public Art. We have signed a landscape maintenance agreement, and we have worked out with Matt's firm the preferred sort of mowing schedule. And our collection manager has either has or is working on a contract with a qualified landscape contractor, I believe one that the city already uses, and it will be on a mow schedule according to the landscape architect's desires for the intent for the grasses and the wildflowers. And you may have touched on at the beginning of the meeting, I joined late by phone, that there will be a watering schedule until the plant materials are established.
Okay, now you're being a little bit psychic because you're anticipating future questions. So the next question is, will there be irrigation? This one just popped up when you were saying that. Will there be irrigation, temporary or permanent? So,
well, I'm going to let Matt address that in greater detail since he is the landscape architect.
okay.
Yes, it will be temporary irrigation. These are native plantings, so they're meant to exist without irrigation. The irrigation is just meant to get because it's all done via seed, hydromulch and seed, and it should be that's done to just get establishment, and then once germination happens, there will not be any irrigation. Yes,
Daniel ran out of
are.
questions. Go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
To answer, I saw Beth please blue bonnets. Yes, there is a TxDOT wildflower mixture, and that does include blue bonnets.
Beth is happy. That one popped up, and then Daniel's like, I ran out of questions. Those were a lot of good questions, Daniel. We appreciate you participating.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Well, we're in no hurry to leave, but Daniel ran out of questions, and I don't see any others on the chat. There was a lot of really good participants in this meeting. We love it when people participate in our meetings and join us and talk about our projects, and we're really anxious to get this one started. So thank you all for joining. Abby, if there's no more questions, I don't see any in the chat, and if no one, wants to speak up, we can go ahead and conclude the meeting. We don't have to stay around till 7:30. So there's one other comment in the chat from Lori. She says thank you. She's very excited about this, and we are too. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Well, we appreciate all the questions This is Ann Allen with Arts Fort Worth. We appreciate all the questions and the people that are looking forward to seeing the project realized. We're excited about it too.
Yeah,
Okay, great. And
That's great.
yeah,
I'll just
and
add,
Matt and Trace and Ed and everybody, we appreciate all your help, and Carson.
yeah, I just want to add thank you for everyone attending. This project, many of you don't know, is a very long time coming, and so from our design side and public art side, we're all very excited to see this project come to fruition.
Mhm.
All right. Well,
I'll just
Abby, I
add
think we
my-
can say goodnight. Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah, Chad, I just wanted to add my sentiments from District 11 and Councilwoman Martinez. Thank you all so much. I think this is something Councilwoman Martinez will be very excited about. So thank you all.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank y'all very much.
Everybody have a good night. Thanks.
Nice. Yeah, everybody
Okay,
have a good
thank
night.
you, everyone.
Nice meeting. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.